Have you ever printed out a photo at home, a really nice, vibrant, full-color one, and just kind of stared at it for a second? I mean, you click print, this little box on your desk whirs to life, and then it hands you this perfect, glossy memory. It feels so simple, but what's actually happening inside that machine is, well, it's a tiny, high-speed miracle of engineering. So that's really the big question we're going to dig into. How does your printer take a digital file from your computer and translate it into millions of perfectly placed microscopic dots of ink on a sheet of paper? It's this amazing process of heat and pressure and just incredible precision. Okay, let's dive in and see how it all works. All right, first up, let's pop the hood and take a look at the anatomy of your typical inkjet printer. You know, if we're going to understand how the magic happens, we've got to meet the key players inside the machine first. And here we have the action hero of the whole operation, the carriage. This thing holds the ink cartridges and the all-important printhead. It's the part that's zipping back and forth, building your picture one single line at a time. What's really cool is how all these parts work together like a well-oiled team. You've got the print head, which is really the heart of the whole printer. That's where the ink actually sprays out. Then, of course, you have the ink cartridges, which are like the fuel tanks. You've got the carriage and belt we just saw, moving everything around with precision. And finally, the rollers, making sure the paper feeds through perfectly. Every single part has a super critical job to do. So now that we've met our cast of characters, let's go see the performance. We're going to follow a single tiny droplet of ink on its journey, all the way from the cartridge out onto the page. So at the very core of this whole thing, there are two main ways to actually get the ink out of the nozzle. On one side, you've got the thermal method, which brands like HP and Canon use. Think of it like a microscopic teapot. It flash heats a tiny bit of ink, creating a vapor bubble that expands like crazy and literally spits a droplet out. Then on the other side, you've got Epson's piezoelectric method. This one uses a tiny electric charge to make a crystal vibrate. It's like a tiny, super precise pump that pushes the ink out. Now here's the cool part, the real aha moment. This difference in tech is why on a lot of HP or Canon printers, the print head is built right into the disposable cartridge. So when you change the ink, you're also getting a brand new print head. But with an Epson, the print head is a permanent part of the printer and you're just swapping out the ink tank. It's heat versus pressure, two totally different but brilliant solutions to the exact same problem. And this diagram here really shows you that whole dance in action. You can see the paper getting pulled in, guided by those rollers. It passes right under the print head, which is just firing off thousands of these ink droplets with unbelievable timing. The paper moves a tiny bit, the head sprays, the paper moves, and just bit by bit, an image starts to appear. So yeah, it all really boils down to this simple four-step sequence. First, your computer slices up the image into a language the printer can understand. Second, the rollers grab one sheet of paper and only one. Third, the carriage zips across, spraying a perfect line of dots. And fourth, the paper inches forward and the carriage goes right back to do it again. This happens hundreds, maybe even thousands of times to create your final print. Okay, so now we know how it's supposed to work. But as anyone who's ever owned a printer knows, they can be a little bit fussy. They need some TLC to keep working right. So let's talk about the essential maintenance that keeps that incredible process running smoothly. Come on, we've all been there, right? You go to print something important and it comes out with these awful, frustrating white lines running through it. This almost always means one thing. Some of those microscopic nozzles on the print head have gotten clogged up with a tiny bit of dried ink. But don't worry, the fix is usually just a few clicks away. If you dig into your printer's software, you'll find a maintenance tab, and the head cleaning utility is going to be your best friend. When you run it, it basically forces ink through the nozzles to dissolve and flush out those tiny clogs, and poof, your print quality is back to normal. Okay, here's another classic printer problem. The text looks fuzzy, or maybe vertical lines just don't seem to line up quite right. Now, this isn't a clog, this is an alignment issue. It means the nozzles aren't firing at the exact right moment as the carriage moves. And the solution is usually right there next to the cleaning utility. It's called print head alignment. When you run this, it prints out a special test pattern and then uses that pattern to recalibrate the timing of the nozzles. It makes sure all those tiny dots land exactly where they're supposed to, bringing everything back into sharp focus. And of course, the most common piece of maintenance is just replacing the ink. The really key thing here is to always use the correct model for your specific printer. If you use the wrong one, you can get terrible print quality, or you might even damage the printer itself.
All right, for our last section, let's tackle the one problem that stops everything dead in its tracks. The one error message that can bring your entire day to a screeching halt. Oh, yeah, the paper jam. Is there anything more frustrating? Your printer just stops, this message pops up on your screen, but hold on, don't panic, and whatever you do, don't just start yanking on the paper. There's a right way to handle this. Let's just walk through these steps together. First, open up the access panels. The error message will usually show you which ones. Then find the jammed paper. Now, this next part is super important. Gently and slowly pull the paper out in the direction it was supposed to be traveling. If you pull it backwards, you can really mess up the printer's mechanics. Last, do a quick check for any tiny, torn scraps of paper left behind, because those little things will cause another jam later. Close it all up, and you should be good to go. And, a key takeaway here is that most paper jams are totally preventable. They're usually caused by using the wrong kind of paper or maybe paper that's a little creased or even damp. Just taking an extra second to fan the paper stack and load it in there correctly can save you so many headaches down the road.
So the next time you print something out, just take a second to appreciate that incredible high-speed choreography of rollers and carriages and microscopic ink droplets happening inside that little box. It really makes you wonder, what other marvels of everyday engineering are hiding in plain sight all around us?